detective thrill me.
Thanks for joining us. Another 2025 release with Fear Street Prom Queen tonight. But before we get to that, Jared, what have you been watching? I think we've had a few extra days since we last recorded, so I'm expecting a bit of a list here from you.
Oh, yeah, a little bit. Not heaps. Mostly Godzilla.
More Godzilla. Yes, that's right. You're working through.
Yeah, I'm working through. What did I watch? I watched Godzilla vs. Biollante. I watched Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah. I got around to this Steve McNair Untold episode. I know we spoke about some of the Untold episodes.
Yes. Is that the one he was shot and killed?
Yeah, McNair, yeah.
Yeah. What did you think of that?
It was pretty solid. Like, it was a decent sort of representation of what was going on.
Well, did they throw a sort of an interesting angle right near the end that was never really even looked at?
They did. They basically just kind of put that bloke up there who had some claims that seemed to be somewhat credible.
Yeah. They didn't really look at it.
But then they didn't go further. They didn't actually even bother to say, yeah, people have looked into this and it's
baloney.
Nothing. They basically just moved on. So that was a disappointment, because it would have been nice to say, okay, well, because it does seem, what he puts forward does seem to suggest, hey, the cops just left this guy. You know, they interviewed him twice, and the second time he put a bit more to a story that wasn't there the first time, that probably warranted some sort of follow-up.
But nothing sort of came of it.
It feels like, to me, someone probably had to have followed that up and has come up with nothing.
Maybe.
So,
yes.
But yeah, it would have been nice to hear somebody say that. So
documentary filmmaking, guys, 101. Close the fucking loops.
Yeah. If you're going to bring something like that out.
Yes, you need to close it off.
Yeah. After I watched that, I watched Batman Ninja versus Yakuza League, which was a
animated.
So there was one. Yeah, it's animated. There was one called Batman Ninja about 5 years ago, which was pretty wild, and it was like obviously anime inspired, and so this was more of the same. It's pretty fucking out there, but it's got some good stuff in there. It's not for everyone, but it does kind of present a few things in sort of Japanese animation styles, not just modern. They kind of take a few detours. There's one little bit where it's almost like Voltron, but the Bat family, which for a couple of minutes, which is kind of cool. So I quite enjoyed that. And then it was pretty much back onto Godzilla again. I watched Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla.
Is this where we're getting a bit out there?
Godzilla vs. Destroyer. No, these ones were pretty consistently solid.
Okay.
This is the Heisei era, which is 80s to sort of 84 to 95, I think it was.
Okay.
So I'm moving into the Millennium era now, which I've heard is a little more uneven, probably towards the negative side in some ways. But,
okay.
But yeah, I really enjoy those 80s ones, just from, I think I've said it before, I feel like the special effects in those are right in the pocket.
Yep.
For that time. A lot of miniature work mixed in with a little bit of, compositing shots of the rubber-suited man in the massive pool with a shot of people on a beach that make it look like Godzilla coming out of the water and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
They hold up pretty well. I think they hold up really well. And even when you can see the seams on them, it's like there's an appreciation for the lengths they've gone to sort of put this stuff together. So, yeah, I found that era quite consistently solid. And outside of that, not much going on.
Not much.
Godzilla's been taking a lot of my time.
Okay. I've got it. Mine's fairly short as well. I watched the first episode of Fred and Rose West, a British horror story on Netflix.
Of course you did. You just cannot help yourself, can you?
I can't help myself, but holy fuck. Talk about low lives.
Yes.
These two. Fuck me. I mean, Jeffrey Dahmer is the worst that I've come across in any of this true crime stuff, but these guys are right up there. Just awful human beings. Like, there's 2 more episodes, but fuck, it's going to be a slog, because then we're going to start getting into the real meat of it in the next 2, and that's going to be hard to handle, I think. I watched The Towering Inferno
Mm.
2 hours, 45 minutes long.
Yeah.
Nominated for 8 Oscars. I cannot see why or where they decided that this was an Oscar sort of film. It's kind of entertaining. Some of the action stuff's good. You've got a good cast of real pros. Like, fuck, I don't know how they managed to get Paul Newman, Steve McQueen in such a kind of pulpy type of film.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they work really well. OJ's in it.
Okay.
I was surprised when I saw OJ. I forgot he was in it. Yeah, look, I mean, it was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right. I do want to go back and watch a few of these, like the Poseidon Adventure, Earthquake.
Yep.
A few of those 70s disaster films.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe even segue into a later period. The 2000s, I think, had a number of them with...
Segue to San Andreas.
Skyscraper. San Andreas. Fucking Skyscraper. Although, strangely enough, when I started watching Tower Inferno, I was like, should I watch Skyscraper again?
No, you did. I know you did.
I think I'm going to have to. I think I'm going to have to. Because I fucking hated that movie.
The revisit.
Okay, so me and my daughter watched Two Hands. She loved it.
Yeah.
She loved it. I loved it. Watching it again, first you see just how talented Heath Ledger was. But what I love about it is it's kind of Pulp Fiction, but so uniquely Australian. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of got that whole everything comes back on top of itself and everything like Pulp Fiction has.
Yep.
But it's so uniquely Australian.
That you're dealing with blokes that are putting bullets through the wash. And
Fucking
rhino.
Fucking Brian Brown and David Field and fucking Tom Long. That's gold.
Yeah.
Those three together.
Don't happen to need a car stereo, do you?
That's right. Yeah, you left me with the car stereos, the silly prick. You don't need a car stereo, do you, Jimmy?
I fucking love that movie.
No, my favourite bit, and my daughter was fucking in stitches when the bloke jumps the fucking counter and knocks himself out. And then Heath Ledger's there going, oi, he's trying to fucking wake him up. And he drags him out of the joint.
Oh, fuck, I love that movie.
That is so good. The only
Yeah.
thing that doesn't quite work is the dead brother. I always find that a little bit out of place, but also a bit out of place.
I don't mind the
idea works,
the
but
telling of the narration sort of aspect of it, but it looks a bit
shaky,
yeah.
and it kind of disappears quickly, and doesn't quite fit with the rest of the picture somewhat in terms of the aesthetic and the look of it.
Yeah.
But
every time I hear it mentioned, though, they just got fucking lines and lines going through my head.
Yeah, I do like, the whole one
some
about
shit, Pando. Shut your fucking mouth. It just makes me laugh every time.
I also love when they're the first time you meet them, they're playing Scrabble, and he puts together like there's triple word score, and that's like 86 points, and it used up all the letters, and then you just fucking David Field just sits there and then just goes, oh shit.
Yeah, so good.
Unbelievable, so funny. Hot take. I think one of Australia's best films.
Yeah.
I think
It's
it's
ones that
so
just,
good.
You don't see it around anymore. You don't. But yeah, I fucking love it.
Okay, moving on. I watched a new Netflix survival thriller called The Dive. It was all right. I thought they did a pretty reasonable job of kind of creating that. Everything gets tougher and tougher and tougher. Like you've got to do this and then that fails, and then you've got to do this and that fails, those sorts of things. And I think that they do a pretty good job under the circumstances of what they're working with, which is basically that two sisters are diving a cave in a remote area. There's a rock slide, and one of the girls gets caught underwater.
Yeah, right.
So they've only got X amount of air. The other sister, who's kind of a bit flaky, has now got a actors, like the person that goes to the surface, tries to get more air, come back, like, you know, there's all these differing things that get harder. Well acted, really well acted. You know, tidy sort of 85 minutes is what you want for those sort of movies, so it works to a degree. And the last one was I watched the Ayrton Senna documentary. Again, my daughter was keen to sort of check it out. Really good doco, but fucking hell, talk about confronting. I don't need to see a guy who had a fucking car accident at one point in that period where Senna died. He fucking hit the wall, got ejected from the car, and his fucking body, he's attached to his seat, and he's in the middle of the fucking track.
Yeah.
And there's all this footage, including footage of the accident that Senna had and people working on him.
Yeah.
While he's on after pulling him from the car.
Yeah.
I was just like, I just don't feel like we need this. It's a bit confronting.
Yeah.
But a really good documentary.
The only crashes you're interested in seeing are guys on motorbikes in Mad Max. Anything past that.
But that's humour.
Exactly. I mean,
and look, don't get me wrong.
You break your leg, you shake that off, and you just continue on.
Occasionally, I'll get a TikTok video where it's just people running into things, and I laugh. I don't know why, but I laugh.
Yeah.
Perhaps I should
fucking
take a look at myself. But that is it for me. All right, let's take a break, people. Here's the trailer for 2025's Fear Street Prom Queen.
Coming to you live from Shadyside High. Only 2 days to go until senior prom, and anything could happen. Gotcha.
Megan Rogers, principal's office right now.
Miss Granger, this is your time to shine. This is the new Shady Side, the promise of a bright future. This is your chance to fulfill that promise.
I'm trying to win Prom Queen, but I am never gonna find a prom dress.
You're so gonna win Prom Queen.
You better believe I am.
Welcome, class of '88, to your senior prom!
Hi.
Hi.
If you make a fool of me, this will be the end of you.
It's Shady Side.
When's it all going to go wrong?
I just saw something in the hallway.
You'll never be prom queen.
Megan, go! I know how it sounds. A whole bunch of people have disappeared. Where are all the prom queens? We're trapped! How do we get out of here?
Wowzers.
This is a very special night, and someone is ruining it! Put the music back on.
I'm gonna cut the bitch that did this.
You having a good night?
Fear Street Prom Queen from 2025, directed by Matt Palmer, who directed Caliber, with a K.
I believe it's pronounced Calabar.
Sorry, that's a little joke there. Produced by Corey Adelson, who produced Spies in Disguise, Peter Chernin, who produced Ford vs. Ferrari, and Gino Topping, who produced Back in Action. It's written by Matt Palmer and Donald McCleary, based on the Fear Street books by R.L. Stein. It stars India Fowler as Laurie Granger, Susanna Sun as Megan Rogers, Fina Straza as Tiffany Falconer, Catherine Waterson as Nancy Falconer, Lily Taylor as Vice Principal Dolores Breckenridge, and Chris Klein as Dan Falconer. The budget is unknown. I was unable to find those details, but looks pretty reasonable. And the box office, obviously it's been released directly to Netflix. There's a sequence in the film where one of the characters is smoking in the bathroom, and there is some graffiti on the wall that reads, "Sarah Fear lives." Sarah Fear was, of course, the original witch from the 1666 whose death caused the curse on Shadyside. All right, Jared, I'm going to dive in first here. Big on nostalgia, but light on characterizations and plot stuff from my perspective. It started pretty strong and kept up some kind of gore and stuff through the first half, but then it really fails to kind of follow through. Everything's pretty generic, plot mechanics-wise and character-wise. Look, there's a bit to like for slasher fans. I sort of had a little bit of fun with it, but it's certainly not. It just doesn't reach its potential for me. I gave it 2.5.
Yeah, I'm in the same sort of realm. I didn't think there was a lot of fun to be had, but yeah, there was a little bit. Like you said, the characters and the story are really flat and really when you go back and think about certain characters and stuff, there's a lot that's lacking. But I also thought the period stuff was
a bit average.
Not as good as the previous Fear Street ones. I thought, yeah, we had a couple of songs that kind of gave us a bit of a buzz of nostalgia, but beyond that, I mean, there was even parts of it where I was looking at like costume and things like that, and there was portions where I'm like, it's not really evoking a lot for me at the time period. And then the original music and stuff that was very much heavily inspired, like the synths and all that sort of thing, just
didn't work.
Not much in that department either.
I've got something to say about one of the songs too. I'm a little bit. I was steamed. Steamed.
Right. Okay. But yeah, there's just a lot lacking in quite a few areas, and when you get the ultimate resolutions, it's sort of a little
the back portion
underwhelming.
Is very underwhelming.
Yeah. So there was parts of it where I thought the two friends. I was thinking maybe this is going to be something along the lines of "It's a Wonderful Knife." Is that what it's called? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, It's a Wonderful Knife.
Christmas.
Which I didn't love, but I really thought they nailed like the relationship between the two main characters in that. I thought, we might be heading down that sort of avenue, and unfortunately, we didn't really get there either. So
no,
I went with a 2 in the end.
2. Okay, that's fair. I think that's pretty fair. I think that's a lot of people kind of went down that road, didn't they? I think it's been pretty middling.
Yeah,
the reviews.
Yeah, not
and
a lot positive.
And look. I mean, straight out of the gate for likes, I thought the 80s aesthetic was okay. I thought the soundtrack was okay. Like, I put them in the likes.
It hit the mark a couple of times.
Yeah, a couple of times it did well. Aesthetically, I think if you look deeply at it, you'll see some issues, like clothing-wise and stuff like that.
Yeah, I thought most of it was fine, but then I just wasn't, like when you go into the prom, for example, I saw certain things, but I just didn't get this feeling of, they've just nailed the 80s.
Yeah. And look, you know what, Jared, that kind of seems like a problem in a lot of movies that have gone back to the 80s now.
Yeah.
They seem to not be able to nail that feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Time Cut. No, not Time Cut. That was in the 90s. Totally Killer.
Time Cut was
2000s.
I thought it felt like it had a similar thing where it just pulled up a couple of outfits and stuff like that, but never really felt like
it was there.
You've got this, you know.
Totally Killer was another one that didn't really get it. I think that was a better movie, but it didn't get. I didn't think it got the 80s. So that's disappointing.
I mean, I didn't see denim with fucking knees cut out anywhere. Like,
I didn't see denim with denim.
That's
Jared,
right. That's right.
Because in '88, I probably would have gone denim with denim.
Yeah. I didn't say a rat's tail.
Rocked it. Yeah, where the fuck was a rat? Nobody's produced a rat's tail.
No, was it, man?
Is it because that was the stupidest hairdo ever?
Possibly.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, how to look stupider than fucking stupid?
Yeah.
I'll put a fucking small tail of hair down the back.
Well, I tried it once.
Did you?
Yeah, I had a rat's tail very briefly.
And you reckon I was fucking looking for myself back in the 80s? Holy shit.
I was single digits in age. and I had other cousins that had a rat's tail, and I thought I'm going to give it a go.
This looks
I
all right.
want to see if I can bring this in.
Okay.
It was gone a couple of weeks later.
Yeah, all right.
You did say it was for stupid people, and
Yeah.
I fit the category. So
Look, it's funny that you say that because I can't believe I didn't pull it out. Because I pulled out every other fucking look I could find, but I wouldn't do that. You're not above this, Adam.
no.
You are
I
not
think if we
above
dug
it.
out a few photos from the 80s, we would find strong evidence that no, you were not above it.
Yeah, I was definitely not above it. All right. The setting on prom night is a great place for a slasher.
Yeah, there's a reason why people go back to it.
Yes, because the school environment, the end of school, the prom, there's dark places in the halls. Like, it works for
You know,
any
the funny
slasher
part,
film.
though, it's kind of like they go back to it, but the slasher's not necessarily the ones. It's Carrie,
Yeah.
which I wouldn't call a slasher. Now I know me and you have watched Carrie since, and we don't think it necessarily holds up as well in
No.
certain parts, but it's the iconic one.
Yeah, about
It's
the
not-
prom.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's kind of like we keep dipping back into that, but it's not necessarily the slashers that have got the prom.
No.
on. Especially
I mean,
not the prom night remake.
okay, so hang on. Carrie, you know, everyone remembers the pig's blood and everything like that, up against fucking prom night 1981 with fucking probably the worst dance fucking dance sequence ever. And then the prom night remake, which, I mean, Idris Elba probably wishes he deleted that off his list. So, yeah, I can kind of see how Carrie's a bit more iconic because of, I think, the pig's blood stuff everyone remembers that.
Yeah.
And the fact that she just goes fucking nuts after that and blows the joint up.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more memorable, I think. But I love the idea of prom night. Your slasher is stalking them, you know, the girls from who are going for Prom Queen. Like, that is just stock and standard slasher stuff, but it's exactly what you would want, I think.
Yep.
I am such a cretin. But opening line in school, everyone knows what aspiration is, right? Breathing through your ass.
Yeah. Look, you brought it up. I was going to, but I'll let you sit with that one.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
You know, that gets a giggle.
Yeah.
That gets a giggle. There was a couple of lines that got a fucking giggle
There
from
was a
me.
couple. There was another one where someone yelled out something
You'll be
stupid to
shitting
someone.
teeth.
Yeah. There was another one where someone off screen yelled out something to a character, and I was just like, yeah, I'm always there for those sorts of things.
Yeah. My other favourite line was, play any of those other songs and you'll be shitting teeth.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking gold.
Well, it's about this part where we get our first taste of Chris Klein teaching class.
His reaction to the girl fucking cutting the fake hand off. Principal's office right fucking now.
Yeah, brilliant. Loved it.
It was great.
The second he did that, I was like, yeah, nice bit of casting
Yeah,
there.
that was
Getting Chris Klein back in.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never mind a bit of stunt kind of casting
No,
like that,
no.
where it's just, okay, well, this guy's mostly famous for a set of movies set around high school and a prom and whatever. Let's chuck him in a role. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely. Absolutely. And
You can miss on things like that, but I think mostly if you put him in a small role, things like that, it works out.
he hams it up nicely.
Yeah.
For what
definitely.
the movie's going for.
I thought in the opening scene where he was a teacher in the classroom, I thought he was right. He was pitched right.
Yeah, exactly
Right on.
right. Nice Phantasm 2 cameo.
Mm.
Playing at the cinema.
Yep.
Haven't seen that in years. But do remember sort of it being a big deal in 88.
Not as big as Rat's Tail.
Bigger.
Bigger
You
in
know
your
what?
world.
I'd rather have had a fucking ball jammed into the front of my head.
I should have had one. Once they saw a Rat's Tail, I should have fucking...
Yeah, have him killed.
He's only a child, yes, but I mean, look at the path he's on. Just fucking finish it.
Yeah,
now.
exactly. I kind of like the killer's look.
Yeah,
The old man mask, the red sort of rain jacket.
I still came out on the positive side of that.
Yeah.
Overall, I think that looked fine.
There were a couple of moments where it looked a bit... I mean, initially I couldn't actually tell he had a mask on. I thought he just had fucking helmet on and like a hoodie on.
Yeah,
so you couldn't... And just, shadowy shadows over the face.
I still didn't even really know what the mask was. It was just like
it just looked like an old man, but it was very hard to tell.
Wooden mask or something at some point. But...
Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
Good to see that we know what's going on. There was a Fangoria cameo.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? This fucking sits right in the pocket for me.
Yes.
Because that was... I didn't double check whether that's, what issue
whether
that
it was
accurate to the period. But I was purchasing... Regularly from D's Comics in Charmwood.
Yes.
At
Didn't
the time.
you get rid of your Fangos?
Yeah, I did.
You fucking idiot.
Yeah, I know that. But they were all busted up. Like, I'd read them a million times. They were all fucked up. Like,
still.
Covers and shit were ripped off them and things like that. But, yeah, I actually do wish I'd have kept them.
Yeah.
Because there was still some really good articles in them and stuff like that. That was kind of cool to go back on. Plus, I used to love the video eye of Dr. Cyclops.
Yes, that was your favourite.
Yeah, that was my favourite.
Yep. What about what were your feelings on the zombie poster?
Yeah, I was a bit... I said to my wife, I don't know where you would have got that from.
I was at the time.
Like I would have got it on eBay now.
Yeah. Fucking oath.
But not then.
Or print up a knockoff of Etsy or something.
Because the problem for me was, and this is what I said to my wife. I said, yes, I understand now. We would get that no problem. We'd get that from a fucking million different dealers.
Yes.
But in '88, you needed to get it from the fucking video store.
Yeah.
Now, there was no way that poster would have been around.
Also, at that time, it was still like just a cheap video fair. It hadn't really found the kind of cult.
And you used to have to put your name on the back of the posters at the video store.
Yeah. You got yourself a couple, didn't you?
I did. I had Friday the 13th, Part 8.
Then they started selling them.
Yeah,
a couple of dollars. Come on.
The problem with Zombie is, yes, it was just a video film at the time, so it had no real, that kind of had built up that kind of...
It wasn't really till like DVD era where some of that shit.
But secondly, that poster wouldn't have existed in '88.
Yeah.
Like, it just wouldn't have been around.
Yeah,
Come on, guys. Get serious.
Yeah.
Again, go fucking period.
Yeah.
Go for a film that was in 1988 in the cinema, in the video store.
Nitpick, but it was so prominent in the background. I was kind of like, ugh, come on.
But also, what are you trying to say there? Because it was in the main girl's friend's room, right?
Yes.
And she was a bit edgy.
She was obviously like a special effects kind of. She'd given that special
put
effects
fucking
sort of thing,
Friday the 13th or Day of the Dead or something up there.
Yeah.
Which is much more in keeping. Like something with Savini, Savini related.
Yeah, I hear.
I love the killer crossing out people's faces in the yearbook. That is a must. That was a must-have for me.
Must?
That's prom night.
What did it for you?
No, but
just prom night.
You need that.
Yeah, okay.
Like to me, that I was expecting that. If it wasn't in there, I'd have been like,
school kind of setup.
Yeah. If it wasn't in there, I would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? You've missed it. Because that's the perfect thing. You open the yearbook, you cross them out.
Yeah.
Like it works. Like, and it was in a shitload. Like it was thinned in shit like Slaughter High as well and stuff like that. Back in those days.
Yeah. Very convenient that all the people that you wanted to kill were on the same two pages.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, that's right.
Handy.
It's very handy.
Handy.
Yeah, you didn't have to flip through. Because I remember my yearbooks, they were fucking separated all over the place.
Out of my yearbook,
I couldn't find it. I couldn't find it.
It had about 50 faces to a page.
Yeah, I know. I'd have accidentally crossed out the wrong person. I can guarantee it.
You got any white out?
Not him. I dug Linda's death with her coming out of the darkness with her guts hanging out.
Yes.
That was cool. Because at that stage, we hadn't really gotten to a lot of gore.
Well, it was kind of creepy, and it was just...
And then the killer's behind her.
I liked how it was off screen. But can we talk about that?
We can talk about anything you want.
I loved it.
Nothing's off limits, Jared.
Thanks
we talked about your fucking hair.
As the Merv Griffin said. Look,
Where
I
are the
really liked
cameras?
it. I really liked it. I just wish it was edited a little more tightly because it's done in a fashion where when he pops up behind her, it's like, that's not possible. We just saw her. They've shot it so that she's in the middle of a classroom walking down in the middle of the aisles.
Yes.
And they show us a shot where it's clear that, okay, she's got her sort of dress cut at about her knees and you see very clearly behind her.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you just edited that just a little more tightly,
It would have been
right
nice.
there
Yeah.
with
The
you.
idea was cool.
Yeah, because I saw the shot and I was like,
But the delivery of
second.
that idea maybe not quite.
so
as
I
strong.
rewound it like 20 odd seconds and I'm like, that's just, screen magic at its best.
Yes.
That one. Don't ask any questions.
No.
But I loved, when we get the tight shot of her and that happens, I thought, yeah, I'm there with you. I'm there. Just tighten her up a touch.
The other cool part about that, and I'm going to admit to laughing, and I probably shouldn't have. He cuts the boyfriend's hands off, and
I
then
knew
he
you were gonna
tries
say
to
that.
fucking open the door with no hands. I was like,
It was quite a cruel touch
yes.
for this kind of. I wasn't expecting something like that.
No.
That's like something out of a Saw movie
Yeah.
or something like that. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And on the back of
It was
some-
grotesque, but it
Yeah.
worked.
Yeah. So we've established that the killer's a little bit cruel and can teleport with Jason at his best.
Yeah.
We're looking all right at this
Standard
point.
stuff.
Standard
Standard
stuff.
There's a nice jump scare when Judd gets his face sawed off with the angle grinder.
Yeah.
He kind of bursts out of nowhere beside him, and that the shot is up close, so you're not really you're expecting something to happen, but they do it. They time it nicely, and he cops an angle grinder, refer in the fucking head, and that was a nice death.
Yep.
Nicely played. The rest of my stuff was essentially gore related. There's a couple of
Okay.
good deaths.
Okay.
A girl getting the meat cleaver in the head was a solid death.
yeah.
Bloke getting stabbed through the top of the fucking skull,
Yes.
which had me jumping quickly back to the Prowler.
Yep.
Although nowhere near as nasty as the Prowler's one, which was really kind of nasty.
Yeah.
But it was a nice touch. And the last bit for me was when he just goes on a rampage. He busts into the fucking prom and starts cutting heads off and cutting arms off.
Well,
and
that actually was I thought that was one of the best moments in the movie.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
running back in a panic as the news is getting announced that Laurie's the prom queen.
Yeah.
It works really nicely
Yeah.
because they're in a terror and everyone else is just amped up.
And then
ready to
fucking
go,
one
and
guy
then
gets
we
his
just-
arm cut clean off, another guy gets his
we
head
start
fucking
removing
cut clean
legs
off.
and heads
Yeah, I
immediately.
like that.
Yeah, I
And it also
they could have
showed the
even done a
killer
little
was
more
just
with
kind
that,
of
taking their time a little bit.
had just come out of the fucking shadows straight into the guts,
Yep.
as if they didn't care whether they got caught or anything like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I thought
And
that was
I'm
cool.
glad that that we started with the two fucking over the top knobs that were obsessed with the Wolfpack girl for some reason.
Oh yeah,
It's good to have them out of the picture.
quickly deleted.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
Okay, I got a few more.
Okay.
I am going to mention a music one, but I'm not sure which song you're going to circle. I'll tell you my favourite.
Yeah.
Was the one that got me and was closest to getting me right in the 80s mood was I Think We're Alone Now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. That
there.
That was right in the pocket.
That was
That's
just like
fair.
waking up to video hits at
Yeah.
8 o'clock on a Saturday
That
morning.
was perfect because I think that was a hit in like 87, end of 87. So
Yep.
it fit 100%. Plus,
Yes.
it's kind of jazzy. It's upbeat.
Yep.
It fits for something like a montage of going to get
Yeah.
your dress and shit on and
And
all
I mean,
that.
it's hard to go for. You're at the prom, so it's like you can't really go for the deep cuts. You
No.
got to go for the hits.
No, you got to go for this.
Because old mate's just been told if he doesn't go for the hits, he's going to be shitting teeth. He's like-
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the filmmakers were told something similar.
Look, whenever I hear Rick Astley, there's a bit of a positive spin on things. Even now that it's a bit of a joke track, I'm of the era where I was rocking to that film clip.
I love it.
So, yeah.
I mean, let me just tell you, if there's one thing, the most annoying thing that ever came out of the internet that I've loved was getting rickrolled.
Get rickrolled, yeah.
Like, I would be
Of
happy to
course.
get fucking rickrolled right now.
Of course. I mean, were you really an 80s kid if you didn't try to run up the wall and fucking flip over like the bloke in the film clip?
Exactly.
Unfortunately, I was weighed down by my rat's tail and didn't quite get it. Didn't quite get all the way over at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Spot on.
So, I don't know if Gibbo will have watched this, but this one's just to rankle him a little bit because I'm back to giving credit for things
shit
that
that
I
didn't
thought
work.
were, hey, you've got a kernel here that you didn't pop.
You tried.
Yeah. You left this one in the bucket and didn't
Yeah.
pop it. But
Yeah.
one of the Wolfpack characters where I thought, fuck, we could have mined something here. It's the one that shows a little bit of jealousy for a second or two and starts saying, she says, I know where the bodies are buried.
Yes.
And I'm thinking,
I actually thought they were going to twist there and she was going to become an ally.
well, I thought she's just gonna murky the waters a little bit for a Wolfpack girl and give us a little bit of drama somewhere in here. You know, whether she does something that then gets pinned on Laurie or something like that. I just thought, all right, we can go somewhere with this. Straight away, she's the next one killed. Which, as soon as she kind of said that, I was like, that they're just going to finish her off now, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that was a little bit disappointing that she was so swiftly dispatched after we got something where I was like, I'm hanging for a bit of something like this. I'm hanging for a bit of fucking complication in the story somewhere that's not just this fucking overarching who's going to win Prom Queen.
Yeah.
And I got excited. I got my hackles up just a little bit there for a minute. Like I was getting excited. Another fleeting moment that didn't quite go anywhere was when Laurie and Megan have the kind of bust up and they get into some conversations about, you know, one night's not going to change everything and all this sort of stuff. And the ideas about how they wanted something bigger and they wanted something more, and which, again, just get kind of left there.
Yeah.
But I was just, again, looking for something to cling onto with the characters and the drama that we were going to get. I didn't mind sort of bringing that conversation up. You know, there's things like that have been fucking dropped into some of our favourites, like Can't Hardly Wait.
Exactly.
You know, you're in a moment like this that then the next day it's just all back to normal and fucking... You know, Peter Facinelli's not your friend anymore.
Exactly.
Mike Dexter's back to being an arsehole.
fucking being an arsehole. Exactly.
Like we know, I thought we could have used a bit of that too.
Yeah, and then you become Trip McNeely. Yeah, like, fuck. Yeah, exactly. A couple of those ideas had potential legs, but it's pretty clear that they weren't willing to. That wasn't going to be the like where they were going to go, which was disappointing because I just liked it. Yeah, I know.
Some of this
I felt there was
stuff,
room too. So why not? Why bring it up? Like if you're going to bring it up, let's perhaps explore it.
Let's unpack it a little.
Yes.
Fuck.
Let's unpack
You
it.
just dropped the box in front of me and fucking left it there. Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't even give me a pair of scissors to cut it open with.
But yeah, that's about all I could find from the positive side of things. Even the kills, I couldn't really come out with something. There's not like a standout other than you mentioned, you know, we spoke about the one where the killer comes behind her. That was okay, but it was more what you did with the character who had suffered the incident with the killer. And then the one with the circular saw. That's about the highlight.
Yeah.
I think.
And they're not really that memorable.
No.
Like,
no.
I won't remember this.
No.
This stuff.
No.
I'd have to watch it again. And
After Skyscraper.
That was a skyscraper. I was also going to fucking dabble with that one that was on Netflix that we watched. It was another slasher from a while ago. We did an episode on it, but there's someone inside your house. Remember that one?
Yeah. No good.
And I remember thinking, do I need to revisit this? I don't think I do I?
No, I don't think you do.
Yeah. So dislikes. Characterizations are super generic. Like we get exactly what we would have expected.
Yeah.
I got nothing like even remotely outside what I was like.
Yeah.
You didn't even try
No.
to give me something.
But we don't even have like traits of characters or something.
Even Laurie
quirky
is kind of a
interest
bit of
that
a
you've
blank
given her or something.
slate.
Yeah, they all are.
It's like, fuck me. You
They
didn't
come
even work hard there.
They come across pretty light.
Very.
All across the board.
Very light.
Yeah.
Nobody's characterised very well. It's very standard stuff, if it is anything. And as I said, Laurie's your main girl.
Yeah.
But even that is pretty light on.
Pretty light.
Two-dimensional.
Yeah. Well, it was fucking... So this is a separate dislike, but it's all tied up. The introduction where, the opening couple of minutes where we get introduced to all these characters. Honestly, I'd forgotten fucking 80% of the names seconds after they said them.
Yeah.
Seconds, Adam. I couldn't fucking tell who. Like, they were saying names through the rest of the movie, and I was sitting there thinking, I don't know who you're talking about.
And look, I'm not going to lie, I may have a cognitive problem, but but in saying that, it is yet to take full hold.
I mean,
I'm
I
pretty
need to
sure
get in there and start talking about Apple TV person.
Yeah, well, I did recently did a cognitive test like that, so I'm clear, according to...
Well, so they say.
Groceries.
I mean, you could be doing the Donald Trump on me here and just telling me you aced it.
Yeah, I fucking aced it. Of course I aced it.
But look, yeah, like you said, that. So, yeah, I'm not great with names. That's on me. But
you don't ask me to you're not giving me enough to ask me to want to know that. They didn't really
differentiate them either. Like, I'm glad they mentioned the wolf pack and the weed dealer, because outside of that, I'm like, okay, I've got the pack. I don't need to know any differences between the people in the pack, because they all
look the same.
They're all one girl and then four girls who are essentially the same for 90% of the movie.
Yeah.
And then we get the weed dealer, and then she actually doesn't get any other characteristic other than that.
Yeah.
And then you got the final girl who, for the first half of the movie, I was like, what's her name again?
Yeah.
But I'm like, she's the final girl, so I know what's going
roughly.
on there.
But the problem is, a lot of people would say, but that's what the books were like. They were light on characterizations. Everything was generic. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not how films work.
Well, that's right.
Like, you've got to make me want to care.
But you can look at the first three.
Yeah. They did a much better job of that.
They whipped together 3 movies, and I think you could pick out the first movie independent of the other 2, and I think you would say there's a little bit better characterization in amongst that first movie than there is in this one.
Yeah, for sure.
And so, yeah, you're right. The books were light slasher fare, like light young adult scares.
Mm.
And, I mean, you've been vocal about R.L. Stein and his writing.
And his writing group.
He's probably not what you would call like Stephen King in the character department.
No, but not at all.
But as you said, you can't just go out and put that on screen.
No, because it doesn't work on screen.
Yeah.
This is the problem. This is what this is something I, because I'm a slasher fan, Jared. But the good old days is like punching out 8 Friday the 13th in 8 years with characters you couldn't give a fuck who they were. You didn't know anything about them because you wanted to just see people killed.
Yeah.
I think those days are kind of passed us by a little bit.
They have. But even now...
And everyone's looking for some cleaner, some more interesting characterizations. And this did not give us that. And I know it was set in the 80s, but it just didn't even bother.
But even those ones had... Yeah, they were bland characters, but there was a little bit of difference between the way each one was acting. Like, we didn't often
maybe
have a whole.
I mean, I look at Friday the 13th Part 7. I think, or
okay,
Part
maybe
5.
I should take back some words.
You probably should take that back. But I guess what I mean
at least, one of them was stuttering, and one of them was, but 2 of them were nymphomaniacs, and we had a little bit of differentiation.
No, but the problem with Part 5 is fucking you couldn't differentiate the nymphomaniacs. They were all fucking nymphomaniacs, if I remember rightly. So everyone at the Unger Institute of Mental Health has a was a nymphomaniac.
Solved it.
But that
they were there for fucking
that
sex
wasn't the
therapy,
reason why.
sex
No, but that wasn't the reason why they were there. Like you mean a nymphomaniac was just part of their personality.
I'm on record as not understanding why a bloke who stutters gets institutionalised, Adam. Last time I checked, that had no impact on his ability to function in society.
Yeah, you know what? We're not giving out lobotomies anymore, people. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, exactly. I want to know why being an nymphomaniac gets institutionalised as well.
saying there's no issues there, though. Because
so.
I know at least two of those characters must have been up for charges of public indecency. And
Yeah,
things like
yeah, but that's a separate issue.
That's a criminal issue. They'd be in jail.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, come fucking hell. Let's get back to this.
Okay, but can I add to that?
Yeah.
We're starting to get into spoilery territory.
Yeah.
We got 5 characters who I'm sure it's about 5 characters. At the end of the movie, the sum total of those 5 characters is they're all fucking weirdos for no reason, and that's the only thing they get to do in the movie.
Yeah.
So you got the 2 people that were fucking putting down Laurie because they love the bird that wants the whoop-at. You got Lily Taylor, his character. The assistant principal.
Yeah.
You could probably lump the principal in there too.
Yeah.
You get the you get the janitor. You get the guy that gets being made fun of because he's jerking for Jesus or whatever. I mean, there's probably more. But the sum total of all of those characters is you are a combination of a red herring slash a Crazy Ralph for the entire movie.
Yes.
And none of you get any other thing to do.
No. And look, they needed to tighten up the number of characters they had.
Yeah.
Because you had way too many characters. Way too many. Like, this is why I didn't fucking remember half of them.
Or do away with your herring fucking early on. Like, you got 5 of them.
Yeah.
Do away with one or two.
No, but kill them.
It was
early.
basically the janitor got killed early, and then the 2 other people got killed very late in the piece as it hits the prom.
Yeah.
Jesus jerk and assistant principal are still
running
going
around
along through, and the principal obviously he suffers a little bit of an accident,
Slight issue.
just a slight one.
Fucking loses an arm, doesn't he, or is it a leg?
No, he gives his arm.
His
They
fucking
place
arm.
it next to him,
Yeah,
and he goes,
that's right.
"Wowzers!" And then
Oh,
passes out.
come on. Get the fuck out of here. Okay.
So yeah, that was probably tied in with the characters. I wasn't. I thought they just needed to spend a bit more time with it and figure out who you need and who you don't. And,
Yes.
yeah,
It felt
it was crowded.
It felt crowded, but it felt first draft.
Yeah,
Yeah. Needed a clean up. The first kill was disappointing because we could have stalked a little bit. We didn't do that. We just, the weed dealer goes and makes a weed sale.
yeah,
And then wanders into a dark spot, and next thing you know, fucking old mate just walks out and kills him.
I did actually like where they just kind of burst out and hit her the first time, but I thought that's going to result in like a Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of chase down an alley.
Yes.
Like, I know
But
you did
also,
that
as I
kind
said
of
to my
thing.
wife, first kill, deliver
Yeah,
on the gore because you want to see how dangerous this fucking person is.
it's like opening a concert at him. Come with a banger. Like, get us off our feet from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. If that's all you got, open with it.
yeah, exactly. Open with it, play 12 songs worth of shit, then play your biggest hit last.
Yeah,
and then,
Or play the same song you opened with at the end.
Yeah. Sorry, we're pretty
Remix.
average as a band, so we're going to play our best song again.
And I look at this from, like, Scream as the classic example. The opening kill in Scream is super gory. It's fucking... It's nasty. It's mean-spirited.
Yeah.
It showcases what kind of person we're dealing with and just how dangerous they can be. And this is the way to deliver, I think, in this type of thing.
Yeah.
You need to nail this one.
Well, fuck, I mean, you've undersold that. We could talk for about 20 minutes as to why that's a great opening kill. But
Yeah. But
it's a good,
But there's that to me, you needed to fucking gut Drew Barrymore.
yeah.
You can't show it off screen. And that's why Scream is so good, is because it immediately shows you that these people are very dangerous.
Yep.
This didn't. It cut away from it. So I was a bit disappointed. I feel like you need to nail that. Come strong at the start. And then you can go to off screen after that.
Yeah.
But I just felt like, chase would have been good. Some more stalk.
Yeah.
The classic point of view type of
Well,
look.
as I said, I liked that they just kind of burst out.
Mm.
But then we're done 10 seconds later.
Yeah. Okay. Songs, Jared.
What's the problem? What's your problem?
The Look by Roxette was released in early 1989, not in 1988. And
come on.
As I said, do your fucking research. I don't care if you think the song is perfect for the scene. you need to change it because you want to stick to
Get it right.
current. You fucking get it
You
right.
sure it wasn't like old mate didn't have access to some kind of promo copies or something, you know?
Not. I think it was like 6 months later.
Okay.
That's the research
All
I
right.
did.
I'm
Now,
just trying to give him a
immediately-
little credit there.
Now I'm not going to lie. It was on Wikipedia.
How do you know? How do you not know it wasn't an earlier version? I didn't have an LP somewhere.
Look, maybe I'm wrong, but
No.
of the research I did, it was released in 1989. And the moment it came on, Jared, I immediately said, I don't think this song was from 1988. And that was before I did minimal research.
Yeah, that's before I took a fucking quick passing glance at Wikipedia. So passing that I might have mixed up the numbers
This
that I was
is the thing,
reading.
Jared. I trust Wikipedia. It says that this fucking shit was released in middle 1989. It also says Richard Marx worked for the FBI. So,
Marxy, I was unaware of your FBI experience, but
I feel like my research is fucking solid.
yeah, solid as a
Right?
rock.
So, but also, I just remember as soon as it came on, I was like, I actually thought it was released in 1990.
I'm glad you told me that because I was planning on going to the next Richard Marx concert and just being a bit of an arsehole, carrying on like a dick. And
Yeah, who
Might
knows
have to-
where you might end up.
might have to watch myself now.
Like,
I sit on my hands and just clap politely after endless summer nights.
well, how can you clap politely to endless summer nights, Jared? Because I'm not going to lie, that's a fucking staple of my
Well, look,
life.
that's going to get me warmed up. And should have known better. I'll be fucking
shoulda known
jumping
better.
around
I'll
like an
be
idiot.
fucking up. Yeah, I believe it's true. It's not from 1988.
I thought you were going to say Marxy was in there. Anyway.
No, he's a fucking plant.
Yeah.
He was trying to bring down soft rock in the 1980s from the inside.
From the inside out. So if we're just bringing up small issues that we want to
Yeah.
make bigger,
Yeah.
we're still running with a whole group of people that like making fun of family tragedies.
Yeah, I know. Jamie's an orphan. I'm not joking. I thought we were going there.
The whole class is fucking slapping knees when we're talking about, oh, geez, your mum killed your dad. Fuck. Come on.
I mean, I was an insensitive prick when
Have some
I was a
decency.
kid, but I would not have stooped to that level.
No. And I
Similar
think
to me not stooping to fucking having a rat's tail.
the sh-
You know what I mean?
yeah. You're
But
above
also,
above one of those things, but not the other. Look,
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's true.
I still I'll let you decide whether it's the making fun of family
Insensitivity.
tragedies, insensitivity, or whether it's a rat's tail. But I think there should at least be a couple of people in the classroom that are frowning or shaking their head,
Yeah.
or saying, "You guys suck."
Yeah. You guys are a pack of assholes.
But it seems like the whole class is
Do
on
you know
board.
what the shit's
Fucking
me?
Shady Side, kind of a place.
I know.
Nobody would live in Shady Side.
No, I know, I understand. Fucking prick of a joint. But also, Jared, I tell you what's getting my goat in these movies. The bullies are always harassing someone who they constantly call a psychopath. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not harassing the girl that potentially might fucking tear off and start killing
Yeah,
everybody.
One of the wolf pack needs to say, "Look,
You know what?
if they actually are, we need to tread lightly."
You know what? We are on a list somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
We're on a fucking list. Okay, now we need to get off that
I don't know
list.
about you guys, but I'm getting myself off. So you can continue on. But
Yeah. Oh, don't be such a fucking pussy.
Yeah.
I like to live.
Look. I'm making myself scarce. You can fucking do what you want, basically.
I tell you what, though, and I'm just tired of, like, the mean girl comes up to Laurie and starts fucking bad-mouthing your mum and dad and that. And all I said to my wife was, I said, you know what? This girl would talk for, like, 5 seconds and I would just go fucking,
Two-piece combo.
fuck off, basically, and just walk past her.
Yeah.
Like I'm so like these characters. I would love to see that in a movie where the bully starts up this fucking, oh, your mum killed your dad, and then the main character just goes fuck off and just walks straight past him
But
because
see, here's
that would be perfect.
So here's where I think there was a portion of that worked for this movie, but they didn't dig into it. Is like
Another
this
kernel?
is where you can.
Because the fucking bucket is full of kernels and that bomb.
Buckets. Oh, they haven't even. It's not even in the bucket. It's still in the little plastic bag that you buy from the shop. So she's coming from a place where we're led to believe she's been copping this her whole life.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like through some conversation, through what they were drawing on their pages, through something, it becomes pretty clear to us as an audience. And this is what I kind of inferred, is that doing that's not going to help her because then it reaffirms what everyone's saying.
Yes.
Whereas if she's the one that doesn't fucking fight back, she's meek, she's mild, she's that because if she fights back, then everyone's just like, yes, you are the psycho from the fucking psycho family.
Mm.
So I kind of, that's what I got. That's what I got from it. And I think they probably should have fucking just tangled with that a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
So that's where I was on with that one.
But again, you don't have to be a psycho to walk straight past the fucking bully and tell him to jam it up your ass.
You could just continue walking and say, fuck off.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, I didn't hear that. All I heard was fucking fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Shit spewing out of your mouth. But also, Jared, there is no way she'd be on the Prom Queen ballot. Come on.
Well, it's shady side, so it's a pretty light ballot.
Fucking light ballot. Light ballot. It turns out you can nominate yourself, I believe.
I'm pretty sure.
Really, like, but there's like, this is the thing. This movie, this is one of the problems with it, is you've got this character who's kind of, she seemed to be totally on the outer, right?
Yep.
Her and her friend, her best friend was like another kind of weirdo, I guess you'd say.
Typical shady sider.
Typical shady sider, yeah, absolutely. But it doesn't make sense that she would be on the ballot.
No.
That she would be interested in being the prom queen.
Well,
and
all they had to say is just fucking, you can nominate yourself.
No, but
They just have to drop a line in there that
but
says...
she should have been more... They should have made it clear that she was more popular. Like, she actually had some popularity. But she didn't. They didn't do that. What I'm saying is they could have done that to at least counterbalance the fact that, because all I got was that she was a loser. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
She's a psychopathic loser. Oh, fuck. So that question's been answered.
And you're in the fucking Jamie's an orphan crowd.
I wouldn't go that far. Like, I'd mumble it under my breath.
No, you're not singing it out, but you're standing behind him kind of clapping and fucking...
Yeah. Oh, giggling, and then leaving the scene.
Good one, fellas.
And then leaving the scene. As soon as the teachers turn up, I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, exactly.
I had nothing to do with it. You know what I mean? But, no, I got the movie...
I'm just insensitive, but I'm not...
And the movie gave us no reason to believe that she would be either interested in being prom queen or on the ballot.
No.
It just gave us nothing.
Look, so again, I'm inferring shit and I'm just, maybe I was just making it up to make things work better for me, but I got it like you're able to nominate yourself.
Yeah. And
the part about wanting to be prom queen was tied into mum.
Yeah, I know, but I felt that was fucking weak as piss. As soon as they rolled that out, I was like, "That's bullshit."
It was, but I can see where, like, what they were going for. Was
again, I feel like it's a first draft.
It's like
so if you have taken some more time,
mum's the missed opportunity in life.
Yes,
and it all goes back to you didn't win the.
Because you didn't win the prom queen.
What is wrong with Americans and the status that they're placing on fucking being the prom
exactly.
Queen.
But what
I missed out on the prom queen, so my life has been a fucking disaster.
It's fucked. Like, life is...
I mean, okay, this one had a murder involved
life
as well.
Is shit, Jared. Life is shit.
Of course, it's sensitive pricks like you have.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is, the idea was kind of there, hatched.
Yeah.
It hatched the idea.
It's in the bag.
Which would have been okay.
It's in the bag of popcorn.
No, it's in that little fucking steamer thing that pops it's in the bottom of that.
Yeah.
But what I mean is the idea was hatched. but it just feels like that nobody gave it another sweep because because the idea that mum, mum, I'm doing it for mum. Get the fuck out of here. The character did not seem vaguely interested in this.
Yes.
You didn't give them any shades. So if you'd have given them the shade that, yeah, she was kind of popular, she just wasn't big with the wolf pack. The wolf pack thought you were a psychopath. Jesus, that sounds ridiculous. But you know what I mean? She was maybe slightly more popular or tried and true method. My mate put me on the ballot for shits and giggles. That's always a good.
So, now that we've discussed some of your vibe around the school, I figure if you're a character in this movie, you're probably one of the Wolfpack's boyfriends that's fucking just hanging around and
sure.
very supportive of their insults and things like that.
But not willing to fully fucking commit.
Yeah.
I'm actually like the guy that Laurie liked. That guy. I can't even remember his fucking name.
Yeah. You appear nice, but then
I'm an asshole. It's a prick.
I'd like to think I'd be like, I'm like Spider. I'm a bit of fun, but ultimately I'm fucking useless. But I'd probably end up being the bloke that gets taunted for jerking for Jesus for unknown reasons.
Of course.
You guys don't even know me.
Of course you would.
Jesus, what? I don't even know what you're talking about.
I just feel like that shit never effectively told me why would this girl who's been taking shit for 4 fucking years have any interest in being the prom queen when she knew she'd be standing next to that fucking lot.
Well, it's like I said, it's
they
all
were trying to go with the I'm doing it for mum.
This is where you get these things that they talk about. It's like she wants something more. It's represented by winning the prom queen vote that her mum didn't get. And then her mum has been a fucking pariah in Shadyside for the rest of her life. It's not the prom. It's the murder, Laurie.
I got a better idea, Laurie. Just leave town. That might be better. You finished high school, leave town.
That's one of the things that they needed to kind of bring into this that was in the first one, that you're kind of trapped in. Shadyside by this fucking curse and whatever.
That hasn't been brought back, is it? Not in this one.
In the post-credits it was.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I didn't see the post-credits.
There was a sequence of, there was a little bit of blood running out that then formed that circle.
Oh, no, yeah, I did see that. Fucking stupid.
Okay.
By that stage, I'd fucking forgotten the movie.
So, have you got any before we delve into reveals?
Hang on, let me have a look.
I've got a couple.
Why are we including a dance-off? Fuck me.
I was very not on board with the dance-off.
No, it felt out of place.
The pair of you looked like you've been into the punch all night.
Yeah. And it was just so bad. The whole idea that the other girl was becoming fucking, jerking and her dance moves were shit.
Yeah.
Because Laurie was getting, that was lunacy.
It was lunacy.
I mean, that was 5 minutes you could have used on some character work.
It felt to me like that was almost like a kind of loving sort of callback to Prom Night.
Yeah, I know, but
and the goofiness of the dance.
Nobody loves it.
But yeah, the other thing I was thinking, and this actually it'll come back when we start talking about the reveals and whatnot later on. But my immediate thought was, I was kind of laughing it up, thinking about everyone's been into the alcoholic punch, including Chris Klein, and then I thought to myself, here's a perfect opportunity for him to be producing some sort of Bobby Cannavale kind of shit.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys want to learn about some science?
Sorry, kids, I gotta go home. And then fucking 10 minutes later, here he is. That is fucking golden.
I was hoping, I was thinking we should have had him pulling shit like that.
Exactly.
Stealing the alcohol and saying some shit and then turning up in the middle of the dance floor drunk or something.
Yeah. This is the thing. If he wasn't the killer and it was played by Bobby Cannavale, I'd have been like, what? This is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. This is another star all by itself. Missed opportunity.
Exactly. Missed opportunity.
You can still have a little bit of fun in Shadyside,
can't we? The teacher's fucking, he's constantly trying to fucking hang out with the cool kids. I loved it. Now, if I saw a weird person in a red slicker and a mask in the change room, I'm not fucking walking towards them. and ask them what they're doing there.
Probably not. But we are in a place where people pretend to cut off their hand in class.
I know, but I'm. Oh shit! I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay.
We've already established that we're used to some sort of
hijinks.
Let's not forget that didn't she put the fucking fake head in the punch bowl?
Was that? Yeah, it was a fake head. That's right. Holy shit! I mean.
So, yeah,
do you know what
pretty
though?
Used to this stuff.
To add to the fact that I don't think Laurie would have even been remotely interested in the prom, there's no way her friend would have been interested. Like, she was not the person.
So here's my read. The friends something more was Laurie, was it not?
I think so.
I think there was a bit of an inkling of
Yeah,
you're in love with Laurie.
Yes, I think you're right. I think you're right there. What else have I got here? The relationship between Laurie and Tyler, not earned at all. Like, not in even close.
Useless.
One conversation they have. One.
Yeah.
That has any depth. And I'm like, so you're fucking giving me this. You're making out like he's suddenly gonna. He twists, and I know they try and go with he becomes a scumbag. He becomes a scumbag. Like, when she finally gets together with him, he basically starts putting the hard move on.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I get that, and I actually kind of like that. I thought, well, okay, this is slightly different. You know, it's not the like the guy that she's been pining over for 4 years, she finally gets him.
Yeah.
So I like that, but the reason why none of that works is just because you didn't even spend any time.
No.
You didn't even bother.
He's also, surely, I mean, fuck. I look at the bloke and I'm like, you're not pining for him for 4 years.
No way.
He offered nothing when he was chatting to you. It's like, holy shit.
Let me tell you something. The only thing that we've been going through her mind is, fucking hell, how do I get out of this conversation?
Exactly. How do I talk to that bloke with a rat's tail
Yeah,
and not this guy?
Yeah. Hey, that guy over there, he looks pretty cool. The guy with the fucking double denim.
Double denim with the rats.
The rat's tail on. He kind of looks like he's...
Oh, yeah, look, he's rocking a tank top under the denim jacket.
Yeah.
Talk about cutting edge.
Yeah. But
Holy
this is the
shit.
thing. They have a conversation where I was just like, yeah, she would not be interested in him.
No.
She, and again...
But also, Adam, and this is going to be harsh but he's not interested in her either.
Yeah, exactly.
None of the characters are interested in anybody.
But that's the thing. He's part of the wolf pack. He's been indoctrinated. He would not be sitting there going, "Oh, I'm really interested in Laurie." Unless you're going to give us something that says that they've been kind of like hanging out on the side, on the sly, and been friends for a bit, and now that's starting to perhaps become something more. But you didn't.
No.
I've been pining over this guy. What, the guy who fucking talks about nothing?
Well, options are thin. We've already said it's shady side.
Yeah, it's not a good, it's not good place
for
relationship.
Maybe that's what they're trying to say. Maybe they're making us look at all these characters and going, geez.
Okay.
Imagine being in shady side for prom night.
That's everything for me. Let's get to the reveals.
Well, no, I've got
one more.
Yeah. Why the fuck does Spider know about the electrical circuitry in the school?
Yeah.
Where's the main circuit? I think it's in the basement. How the fuck would you know?
Yeah. You're not too... unless we should have been introduced to him working in the fucking mechanic shop or whatever they have.
You're telling me if Spider's advising me of the best place to go to school to smoke a joint and not get caught, which seems to be all he's doing in the movie, okay, well, I might listen to your advice, but why am I asking you about electrical circuitry in the school? Yeah,
when Spider says to me the best place to fucking smoke a blunt is out under the bleachers.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Going there. But if he says the electrical circuits are down in the basement, I'm just like, I need a second opinion.
Yeah, how would you know?
yeah, you wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I think the idea they were going for is he smoked joints in every fucking part of the place.
Correct. That kind of made me laugh. But yeah, again, I thought exactly the same as you. But basically, yeah, he's used to dipping around the school and just
and smoking weed.
finding
left
his
and right.
way out of the spotlight.
Smoking the fucking what did my mate at work call it? It's a Gatorade saxophone.
Yeah. Okay.
Brilliant.
Yep.
That sounds about right. And I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah.
A Gatorade bottle with a fucking small amount of, hose stuck in it. Like, that would have been piss funny. Okay. Reveals. Yes?
Yes.
Chris Klein saw it coming, clocked him immediately,
Okay.
instantly.
So I was flipped.
Flipped.
So obviously Klein was in the mix.
As soon as he spoke and then sort of gave a bit of, and I know he was hamming it up.
So can I tell you
Where
I
you were
clocked
going?
So this is when I clocked it. We're talking about Laurie's mum.
Mm.
We're talking about this and that. The girl that's giving her the most shit about it, the second we see her mum.
Yeah.
And they mention, she's a fucking whatever
Hard ass.
they mentioned about her. I'm like, first thing that went through my head is, she actually murdered Laurie's father because love triangle.
Yeah.
And
I didn't clock any of that.
I sat on that.
I clocked none of that.
I sat on that. Well, I sat on that, and then the second I thought about Chris Klein was when I was entertaining myself with why isn't Chris Klein Bobby Cannavale? And I'm like, we've already seen him necking a punch.
Yeah.
Quickly. And then I was like, oh yeah, he's fucking, and then I just, in my head, I was like, it's the pair of them.
Yeah.
And then that was probably, 2 minutes before the reveal of the double.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the two of them, I was like, yeah, I think I'm on it.
The double, just once again, it feels really played out.
It does.
Because we've had double killers a million times now.
Yeah.
And to go to a double killer as like a twist, and spoiler alert, they go for what I believe, Jared, and please correct me, triple killers. Because I felt that they kind of revealed the daughter's in on it.
Okay, so where I landed is the daughter's in on it, but it was mum and dad doing all the killing.
Yeah. The daughter knows they're doing it.
Yes.
And then they're trying to protect it at the end.
I didn't like.
No, I didn't like that either.
I didn't love the reveal as a whole, but I thought it would have kind of been better if the daughter wasn't in on it. I don't know why, but I just felt like once we got there, it was just kind of like,
I think it probably would have been better that the daughter did it.
Yeah,
just the daughter.
That's too
easy. And too fucking ridiculous. Like, you couldn't believe it.
What was it about Klein that had you?
Just the way he delivered his first line. I remember, I said to my wife instantly, I reckon he did it.
Yeah.
And we kind of laughed because we were only 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
So we're thinking it's one of these classic things where you just kind of grab
10. I reckon that was 10 minutes.
10 minutes
when he's delivering the fucking...
So it's the old classic thing where you're kind of immediately looking for the killer.
Yeah.
And you just throw it out there.
Yep.
But the reason why it was because the way to deliver the line was kind of like a mixture of like hammy but kind of creepy.
Yeah.
And I sort of went, that seems really weird.
What were you thinking the motive was? Just
I didn't think at the time.
I'm fucking sick of you kids.
I didn't think at the time, but I also I did start trying to tie it back to her mum.
Well,
that he'd been having an affair or something.
So the
and
thing for me is when they
killed the father.
Never tied anything back to mum, but it's like you keep talking about it, so it's got to be involved.
Yeah,
you keep talking about it. You showed mum for 2 minutes. It's got to be involved. So as soon as I saw the other one and she was all about, oh yeah, that family's weird or whatever as well, I was like, love triangle. She's actually the one that did it.
Yeah,
and then Chris Klein, when I saw the family together, I was just kind of like, oh, I've singled her out. He's on the periphery. But then when I got that moment when he's fucking had the drink and then disappeared and whatever, I thought back to that first interaction where they were just super weird and super cheery with the girl.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's where the two kind of came in. But
yeah.
There
was nothing about that reveal was interesting.
No.
When they actually revealed it, at no point did I just go, did I go, oh wow, I didn't see that coming.
No.
I was just like, eh.
And so here's where my issue comes back to those 5 characters that were just all weirdos. You've basically had Lily Taylor just float around and talk like she's a character that's hiding something for, I don't know, 3 to 4 appearances throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And then she's just gone.
Yep.
It just screams, like you said, it just screams
Half-assed.
Yeah.
It felt like a lot of ideas thrown into the pan, but then no consideration as to how do we flesh any of this out.
Yeah.
How do we make it not stand out? So
I would have
so
preferred
easy.
him just to take one of the old Fear Street stories and just take it straight from that, if that's what you're going to.
Yeah, and then just up the violence quota, but something like that. But the problem for me is that they as soon as they showed the 2 killers, I think I just sort of went, oh, fuck. Like, I was so disappointed because I was just like, we've been down this road. It is no longer interesting. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make out like there was 2 killers, but the daughter's also in on it or knows about it. That doesn't make it any better.
No.
Like, that makes it look worse because all you're doing is going, oh, yeah, shit. Everyone's had 2 killers, so we better just stick someone else in there.
Yeah.
Just so...
I didn't actually... I don't know why I thought... When we hit the end, I don't know why I got the feeling that it would have just been better that the daughter wasn't involved. But I just... As soon as it was happening, I was like, oh, God.
Yeah. I actually think maybe it would have been better that it was just Chris Klein or just the mother.
Yeah.
Because I just... Once again, you're playing... You're trying to do... I mean, fuck.
But the way that you try to do it then makes... Like, all the character backstory was just super flat as well.
And even if they did give us just a single killer, Jared, I feel like the plotting and the backstories and that, they just weren't strong enough to even support why they would have done it.
No.
Like, it was so flat across the board.
It's almost like you needed to do that, but you needed to tie it into this Sarah Fear and the curse and all that sort of stuff before just a little... Because the scene at the end doesn't make us think there's going to be another one of these movies. It makes us think, okay, there might be another Fear Street movie, but this is still going to be like a standalone kind of story in the mix.
Look, I'm not sure how I feel about Fear Street at this point in time. I want more. I do want more because I feel like it's right in the pocket of my teens. This is when these books were out.
Yeah.
And I really gravitated towards the adult, the more young adult versions, not the Goosebumps.
Yep.
So I like the fact they're doing it, but on the whole, I would not say that they've really been that successful with any of them.
Yeah, so
and
I disagree slightly.
I'm a bit like you. Let's take actual books and adapt them.
Okay, so I liked the first 3.
I liked the first 2.
Yeah.
I thought the third one was bah.
Third one was
but it was
alright,
necessary because I think you've got to tie everything back to Sarah
you tied
Fear,
it all
right?
up, but also this one was in the time frame, so it's like you've tied it in at the end, but everything else is just... I'm okay with it being a standalone entry, but it's kind of... Looking back on it, I'm like, taking that story but somehow tying it into Sarah Fear was probably the way to go in the long run. And I don't think you can come back to this and then tie it all up.
But I'd also be happy, Jared, to just give me an anthology of Fear Street novels. Because HBO Max were skirting around those point thrillers that were around the same time, which R.L. Stine wrote some of those too.
But then I read them and realised...
No, but it just never went...
We need more meat.
It never went anywhere, as far as I'm aware. But that idea of having like an anthology series where you took those books and you had them in episode form, I think that sounds like a kind of cool idea. And I think I'd like to see Fear Street maybe go down that route for a little bit.
Well, I wish they'd done that with the Goosebumps. TV, the more recent Goosebumps TV, because I think I watched that and I was like, the 90s one was better just because it was whipping out a different story.
Yeah. I remember the first couple episodes of the first series of Goosebumps being quite good. Yeah. And then it just kind of fell away.
But like Yeah, I'm all for tying it all up, but there's still room to do your standalones here.
Yeah.
But it's like you've done your standalone and then you've told us that it's all part of the curse anyway, but we didn't get any of that in the movie.
No.
We just got your bog standard motivation, your bog standard execution of it all.
Yeah.
Not even bog standard. I would have been happy with bog standard.
Yeah. It wasn't even that. It was kind of below bog
Yeah.
standard. It was just bog.
It was shit, pretty much. But I want them to continue with.
Yes, I do.
Stuff.
I do. I don't want them to just throw it out just yet, but I think for me, I need something. I just would like to see them just take a few of the books, give us an adaptation, and do a little bit of that sort of standalone stuff, and then maybe start trying to look at tying things back in other ways later. Just to give me I just want a shot of nostalgia, Jared.
Yeah.
At the moment, I don't need to tie everything back to fucking everything. Just give me an anthology, 8-episode series of some of the cherry pick some of the books.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that. But I guess my thinking now is you've thrown the scene at the end to say it was tied in. But if you didn't tie it in, you got to do better than this.
Yes, definitely, because it was below par. It was just middling for me.
Yep.
You got anything else?
No, I think that's pretty much it. Don't need to go too much further into it.
No, I don't think so. All right, that was Fear Street Prom Queen. You can find us on iTunes, Spotify, Podomatic, and wherever else you get your podcasts. Send us an email at thrillme@iinet.net.au. We're on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, Podomatic at thrillme.podomatic.com, and Instagram at thrillmepodcastau. Keep an eye on the Facebook page for details of what our next film will be, but until then, take it easy, everyone, and we'll catch you later. Cheers.
Find the podcast at Podomatic or on iTunes. Don't forget to rate and review. Like us on Facebook at Thrill Me Podcast Australia, or contact us at thrillme, all one word, all lowercase, at iinet.net.au.